What up, G Life? It's your boy MC Shadow back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, make sure you guys comment, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Share if possible because it does help my channel. Now, what I wanted to talk about, the title says shot callers, mayheads, corruption, human behavior, dopamine, all of that. You know, because if there's one thing, and this goes for anything, you know, because street gangs pretty much run themselves like corporations do, no different. You know, you guys will see a lot of similarities, you know, because I get told this a lot when people watch my videos and leave in the comments. There's a lot of similarities between the street life and, you know, regular life, you know what I mean? You know, like the same way these countries or businesses run their, you know, their businesses and countries is kind of like how gangs run their gangs. And, well, yeah, because they based all their structure on them. Now, the same thing, you're going to get corruption within a business. You see, you know, these business owners do all these shady shit, you know, and not actually looking out for their employees, even though their employees is what makes them who they are. You know, it's because of their employees and their customers, they're in the position of power that they're in, you know, to be grateful for all the stuff that they have. Yet, instead of showing some kind of gratitude, instead they, you know, they treat their workers like shit, and they try to like get every last penny out of their customers without actually even like hooking them up for all the, you know, years of, you know, loyal customer, you know, service and all that. Same with neighborhoods. You're gonna get corruption because I have always said this: too much of a good thing is bad for humankind because it corrupts. You know, too much knowledge makes you stubborn and, you know, snotty because you think you know it on everybody's stupid, you know, more dumber than you. You're superior to everybody. Too much sex makes you a pervert. You know what I mean? Makes you perverted. Too much money makes you greedy. Too much food, you know, you vomit. You know, too much alcohol, well, you already know. You know, too much of anything that makes people feel good is bad for humanity. You know, the sensation that makes us feel good is from the dopamine that's released in our brain. You know, that's what gives us the sensation, the you know, the gratification. And with overly excessively used, you know, throughout time, you know, that sensation becomes harder and harder to get, right? So then people start chasing that sensation. It's what creates addictions. You get what I mean? And it's what, you know, leads people, you know, down in a downward spiral, whether, you know, becoming an alcoholic or becoming a drug addict or becoming a kleptomaniac or becoming, you know, a fucking a stalker. You get what I'm saying? Because now chasing that gratification is becoming harder and harder to obtain. And it's what makes people like this. And even though not everyone gets corrupted, a majority of people do get corrupted. You know what I mean? A majority of people do give into temptation. You get what I'm saying? That's why I think having one person in charge is never a good idea. You know, when somebody has just too much power, it's going to go straight to their heads. You know what I mean? You see it happen with these presidents, these mayors, these governors, and leaders of gangs. You know what I mean? You know, they feel like they're entitled to everything, that they could just, you know, pretty much use and abuse at their disposal. You know, you see them that they start doing all these shady, shiesty moves. You get what I mean? They're not really looking in the best interests of their people. You know what I mean? And then for those who don't want to follow in line, then they end up, you know, applying rules to make them comply. You know, which is not feeding me either. You know what I mean? They start breaking everything. They start breaking all their morals and they forget what it means, you know, and how they got there, and the trust and the brotherhood and the bonds and all of that. It just goes completely down the drain because then corruption takes over. You know, the greed, the power starts to, you know, influence their decisions. But since they're stuck since they're stuck in that psychosis at that moment, they're not even able to see, all the shit that they're doing. You know what I mean? Because then it only becomes about, satisfying themselves and what's, at not what's good for the cause, but what's good for their self benefit. You get what I mean? Same with these corporations. They don't look to take care of these people that now put them, in the position they're in. Instead, they're just looking after themselves, and they only care about their dinner. How does dinner on their plate get put there? You know what I mean? When they forget that all these other people have families to feed too. But as long as their family's eating, they can care less. It's sad, really. You know what I mean? What happens to humanity? Like in my neighborhood, we don't have a structure like that. We don't have somebody that has all the power. You know what I mean? Because honestly, that's not a good way to run your thing. Because when people have too much power, my boy, is gonna go straight to their heads. The evidence is there throughout history, time and time and time again. It always happens. These people don't have it in the best interest for you guys. They only have it in the best interest for themselves only. You get what I'm saying? Because like I said, too much of a good thing, it does tend to corrupt. Because when we have something that brings us satisfactory, right? But if we don't get it, it starts to bother us. You know what I mean? Kind of like when you're starving, right? And you're looking forward to a meal, and then you get the meal, and it's a little bit, or it doesn't taste good. Now you're upset, Now you're upset because you were really looking forward to this, because you already know the feeling of being satisfied, and now when you're not, it's kind of like you're bothered by it. You know what I mean? Same like if a hyena tells you to come over, and then whatever you think you're gonna get some or whatever. And it doesn't end up happening. She leave you right there with blue balls and shit. You know what I mean? She's over here touching on it and shit like that. You think it's about to go down, and then she says you gotta dip you and be like, man, what the fuck, dude? you get what I'm saying? Or when you're told that the PlayStation 5 is gonna come through today, at 3, you're like, hell yeah, and then you realize that they tell you that it won't be coming for like another 3 months, and you're like, what the fuck? Because you already know the sensation, right, of being satisfied. So then now when you don't get it, or when you're not when you don't achieve it, whatever, you become upset. You know what I'm saying? And people take it to the extreme. You know what I mean? Some people, while they're able to control themselves, some people are just not able to control themselves. You know what I mean? You'll see them go and talk shit to the chef, or you'll see them try to abuse the hyena, or you see them go to the mail place and demand their shit with a Glock. Like, you get what I mean? They take it to the extreme. Corruption tends to happen time and time and time and time and time again. That's why it's never good to give. See, those are individual actions. That's why they don't affect somebody in a group, right? Because they're just your individual scenarios, right? But compared to when you're in a group, right, and you have this power, right, and then now you don't get what you want, you see how it would turn to be like this scenario where you take matters into your own hands, and you just you start making all these shady moves, like when you like in these incidents. It's no different. That's why you see these people get corruption, right? Because they're looking to satisfy themselves, and that satisfaction, they don't feel it. But the problem with that is that it starts becoming more and more and more and more, and it just starts spiraling out of control, because now it takes them more and more to keep getting satisfied, and they just keep getting dirtier and dirtier and dirtier into but that's my breakdown on corruption, and my theory on the psychosis and psychology behind all those matters. I'm saying, him shadow we are.